Okay, I think we'll make a start there, and if people are still going to join us, hopefully they won't miss too much right at the start if we make a start now. So yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to our 5th Creating Conversations webinar with Promo-Cymru. Thank you again so much for coming. It's great that you're still really interested in taking part and joining us. And yeah, so it's lovely to see you all. Today, we're going to be focusing on something quite technical, but something that a lot of people don't really understand. So you've probably heard the word algorithm in relation to social media before. You may be aware that it's code, but we're going to start to have a look, or certainly dip our toe in the water about what algorithm is, how it affects us on social media, and maybe what we can do to kind of use it to our advantage to make sure that we do the best we can on social media. So let's make a start. So here is today's kind of rough schedule. We might actually be a little bit shorter in terms of a presentation this week because the content is it's quite intense. There's a lot to learn. So I don't want to go on for too long. So I think we're probably going to have slightly less time on the actual presenting and leave a bit more time open at the end for questions. So if I go over anything that doesn't make sense, or if you're still at the end of it thinking, don't get it, don't have a clue what you're talking about, there will be time at the end to go over that. So don't worry, don't panic. That's what that's for. But yeah. In terms of last week, if you missed last week, how this works, first of all, you might have noticed that everybody is on mute. So if you haven't been to one of these webinars before, just the easiest thing to do is keep everybody on mute so that everyone can hear me, basically. But that doesn't mean you're not invited to ask questions throughout or even make comments, add any ideas you want to share. So if you haven't done that before, you can click the chat button. It'll either pop up on the side or open a new window for you. Please do. I encourage you to use that throughout. Add comments in there, ask your questions, and stay involved. Yeah, last week, I had a week off, which was very nice. My colleague Diana very kindly did one for us. And she did a fantastic webinar all about how to use or how to make high quality video at home using your mobile phone, and then maybe some cheap things like tripods, lighting, all that make a massive, massive difference. And I think the one tip we'll all have remembered from that was the tinfoil. How you can put tinfoil underneath you and bounce the light back up. I love it. In fact, you know what? I feel an idiot now. I should have done it and made myself look a little bit more, well, better. Talking of better, I can't wait for the hairdressers to open. I feel like I can see myself with the hair. Honestly, it's terrifying. Anyway, onwards. So as we do every week, it would be lovely if you could drop your name, a bit about your job, your organization in the comments. And ideally, if you can think of something that has made you smile this week, please do drop it in there and I will go through them. While you're doing that, I will, as always, introduce myself. My name is Andrew Collins. I'm the Communications and Engagement Officer at Promo-Cymru. And something that's made me smile this week, I've literally just had a bit of lunch. We had our click and collect yesterday. And I don't know if you found this as well, but it's kind of a little bit of a lottery. So you don't really know what you're going to get, which I'm quite enjoying, the element of surprise with my click and collect at the moment. So we bought some crisps just for lunch. And instead of crisps, which they apparently didn't have, we got pom bears. I don't know if you can see those, but I haven't had pom bears since I was probably 8 years old. They're great. 69 calories. I should be ordering these every time. What a lovely, what a surprise. That's one good thing about lockdown, eh? Okay, great. So I can see some of the comments are starting to come in. We've had one from Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Vale Youth Service. Sister's birthday cake. Does that mean that you made a birthday cake for your sister? Or your sister made one for you? I don't know. But that's cool. And again, if you've managed to get hold of all the ingredients, you're doing very well. Hi, Geraint. Geraint's been with us every week. It's great to have you back. Thank you so much for attending. Swansea MAD Programs and Partnerships Director. My wife made a cake. Wow, look at everyone's getting very like bake-off at home, which is awesome. Hi, Hallie. Student looking to get into digital media. Yeah, great. Hi, Hallie. One thing that's made me smile and squirm was when my cat brought me a little field mouse. Ooh, maybe don't put that into your bake-off cake. Oh, Stuart, problems with audio. I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if you're the only one having it. Stuart, I think I can actually see you on camera at the moment. Is it that if you can hear me, put your thumb up? I'm guessing you can't because I've not seen a thumb. But if anybody else is having problems, can you let me know and we'll make sure we try and get those fixed for everyone. Stuart, if not, I'm not really sure what to recommend. I'm very sorry. It must be something at your end. I know that doesn't help. I'll tell you what, though, we are recording this session. So, Stuart, if you do duck out and you can't, I suppose you wouldn't be able to hear this, but we're recording it and we will be putting it out on our Notion site later on, which I'll link to later. Hi, Alex. Zoom quiz. Yeah, we've been doing lots of Zoom quizzes. They're great. Hi, Dina. Nathan, Tracy, hello. Pictures of my niece and nephew. Yeah, it's been nice, hasn't it? Staying in touch with the family. Charlotte, Kerry, Mark, Sarah. Chalk, hopscotch on pavement. Do you know, I don't know if you live in Cardiff Bay, where I am, but I've seen a lot of chalk on the pavement. There's been, we've had some, like, I guess, people that live locally, they've been drawing rainbows and lots of messages for the NHS all over the floor, which has been really nice, actually. It's really sweet to see. But yeah, I've seen a few of those kind of chalk stuff on the pavement. Hi, Anna, having a Zoom quiz. Oh, wicked. Oh, I tell you what, actually, seeing as you've said it, Anna, I did a quiz this week, and that was something else that made me smile. So my father-in-law asked the question, which of the following do you do on average 13 times a day? And it was, let me think what the answer was. I think it was touch your face, laugh, or I can't remember what the third one was now, but it wasn't that anyway. Cough? I don't know. But anyway, it was smile. And I'm amazed. 13 times a day on average. I do it loads more. And maybe I'm just happier than the average person. I don't know. Cool. Right, anyway, I better move on. Otherwise, we'll stay here all day. But thank you so much. It's lovely to hear from everybody. Andrew, Charlotte, Jack, Marco. Great. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to close the chat for now. If you have anything you want to ask, I think, Ariel, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah,
so, great. So this week, Ariel's going to be monitoring the chats. Again, if you've got any questions that you want to put to me, put them in the chat. Ariel can jump in and ask those away. Okay, right. So as we've started doing on a few weeks, I'm going to ask you to annotate the next couple of slides. So to do that, you should find a little thing at the top. I think it says View Options. You should then have a button that says Annotate. Once you click that, you should get something, a little drawer or row that looks a little bit like the one I've got here. It might look a little bit different. But what I'm looking for is if you can click the one that says stamp, you might not have a heart icon, it might be something else. But if you can click stamp and then click the heart, I'm going to ask you to tell me which of the following social media posts you like. So, starting with the first one. I've got two posts here. I'd like you to hit a heart on which of these two posts you prefer. So only vote for one. So the one on the left is all about Hibernian FC. They've decided that they are going to be putting thank you to the NHS on their shirt for next season, which I think is a lovely touch. Or if you saw this week, you might have seen that their chef cooking from home, not in the studio, obviously, managed to set fire to his kitchen, prompting loud calls from Philip Schofield, you're on fire, John, which was quite funny. Oh, right. Okay, so I can see that actually it is, in fact, You're on Fire, John, that is clearly taking the lead with this group today. That's where most of our likes are coming in. Very interesting. Cool. Okay, thank you very much for that. I'm going to clear those and move on to the second one. But yeah, so the clear winner there is this morning. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do the same thing again. But this time, you've got two posts. A quarantine meme. For the record, I genuinely am wearing trousers. I'm not going to prove it, but I am, just so you know. But I mean, in theory, everyone could just be wearing the top half of their meetings. Or the We Rate Dogs Twitter account. Their job is literally just, oh, sorry. Oh, I've gone one too far. Let me go back a page. Can I do that? I can't. Excuse me. Oh, can I? I'm not sure if I can get out of this now. Oh, no. There you go. Right. Okay. So the We Rate Dogs page, they just rate dogs and they're wonderful. And every dog gets a score of above 10, always. We actually have the Rate Dogs calendar in our kitchen. That's another thing that makes me smile, actually. Okay, a slight more, okay, interesting split. I think We Rate Dogs probably takes it just about, but a bit more of a split this time between everybody. Fantastic, thank you very much. And your final one, you may have actually seen this trending this week. So the idea that the challenge was, can you put the legs with another picture to make somebody look wonderful and fabulous with the boots on. So we've got Spock, or, oh God, I've forgotten his name, but the Conservative minister whose name I've completely forgotten. Should have written it down. I know this. Oh well. Interesting. Mostly, so I can see Ellen going for Spock, Hallie going for Spock, Jack going for Spock. Nice. Jacob Rees-Mogg. Thank you, Sally and Geraint. Yes, Jacob Rees-Mogg, obviously. Sorry, thank you very much. Okay, a fair split again, but I'm going to say Jacob Rees-Mogg's just about takes it, I'm going to say, based on the overall vote. Thank you very much for humouring me, and I hope you enjoyed taking part. But there is a reason why I wanted to ask you about that. So we're going to be talking about algorithms today, and I thought that might be a bit of an example of how an algorithm kind of works. So thank you for engaging with those posts. I now have more data on what you like. So I know a little bit more about you, posts that you might be more inclined to like. So for example, in the first one, I think we had sport versus entertainment. And as a group, you guys preferred entertainment. Then when we got to the second one, we had, in fact, I can't remember what the second one was now, but we had, in the latter one, it was film versus politics. And I think politics probably won. So by liking these posts, I'm just learning a little bit more about you, my algorithm, about what I know about you and what you like. It's just improving ever so slightly. So hopefully I can use that to customize and personalize your experience going forward. So on to algorithms. Have you ever wondered how your social media feed decides what you see and what you don't see? Or why some posts seem to do better than others? The answer is algorithms. And algorithms, as we've said, is this underlying code. So I'm going to take you on a journey back in time to 2009, when we were allowed to leave the house, and when Facebook was kind of still in its early phases of being mostly university students, but starting to open up to the wider public. Back then, posts appeared on your feed chronologically from the most recently posted. So whenever I logged in, I would have seen the most up-to-date, most recent thing posted by somebody that I was friends with. So let's have a little example of what was going on my feed in 2009. So we can see that Diana Del Puerto, who presented last week, she's off to see Avatar. Of course, 2009's massive movie, biggest grossing hit of the year. I hope you enjoyed it, Diana. Marco listening to Bulletproof by LaRue, a classic 2009 one-hit wonder. Great song though, Marco, good choice. Oh, and what's this? I think there's another post coming in. And so we see that Cindy's post pushes everything further down the page. And instead we get this post from Cindy. Just bought an iPhone 3, Cindy. The first real smartphone that will completely change the way we interact online. Wow, wow, Cindy, that's prophetic. How did you know? What a statement to make way back in 2009. Amazing that you could, such a visionary. But yeah, actually this is a point. So in 2009, the iPhone 3 launched. It was kind of the first time we all got into apps. Things started to become mobile ready, and we started using these sorts of things all the time on the go. And in fact, that was also when Facebook realized it had a problem. The problem with posts appearing simply just in chronological order from the most recent thing is that quite often you will see posts that you don't really care about from people you don't really necessarily like. So I'm sure we all had friends on Facebook, particularly back in 2009 when we were just befriending everybody. Maybe those people that you went to school with and actually you didn't really like them, but you didn't want to turn down their request. And you're getting all these rubbish updates from people that you didn't really know. They weren't part of your actual social circle. And your feed was clogged up with stuff that you didn't really care about. So I want to see what Cindy and Diana are up to. Instead, I might be getting silly updates like this from people that I don't really care about or like very much. So sorry, Katie Hopkins, I'm just not interested in your diet, and it's clogging up my feed. Now that's a problem for Facebook, because if I'm not enjoying Facebook, I maybe don't use it as much, or I spend less time on there because the content's just not that relevant to me. That means that I'm not seeing adverts. And if I'm not seeing adverts, Facebook doesn't make any money. So Facebook had a problem, and they realized we need to change it. This is when they started introducing a different form of algorithm to show us posts. Okay, as I think I've already said, algorithms are the underlying code that decides which you see and which you don't see. And it's based on a few different things, which we're going to touch on. But very importantly, every single social media account or page or user, whatever you want to call it, has their own unique formula. And that decides not only what you see, but also who sees your posts. And that's really important because for us, when we're trying to get our message across, particularly at a time like this is why algorithms are so important. And just having a basic understanding of them can just help you in small ways. So essentially, algorithms answer the question, would you be interested in this post? It does this by using the data it has about you to work out what you like. So a little bit in that very crude example I started off with, I'm starting to work out what you're interested in. So less interested in film, more interested in politics. Less interested in sport, more interested in entertainment. I can't even remember what the middle example was now. It's completely eluded me. Oh, the dogs. Yeah, so more interested in cute animals than maybe the humor side of things. So all of these little things help me to filter out, okay, I'm starting to learn about you as a user. Okay, let's have a look at this, this post. So this is me logging on to my Twitter account. This is actually a screenshot from a few weeks ago before this kind of all started. But essentially this was me logging onto Twitter on my phone. And these are the first two posts I see. So why am I seeing this when I log in? Well, first of all, I follow both Cardiff Blues, because I'm a Cardiff Blues fan. Here's my little Cardiff Blues Supporters Club mug. And I also follow Paul Williams, who is a rugby writer, rugby journalist. So it makes sense that they would appear on my feed. However, the Cardiff Blues post is from 20 hours ago. It's nearly a day old. Even the Paul Williams post, that's 9 hours ago. You know, this is completely different to what we used to have with Facebook, where it was just the most up-to-date posts. You know, these are old news. So why am I seeing them? Well, first of all, I interact with those accounts a lot. And by interact, what I mean is I maybe like or retweet or comment, share, or even just something basic like if they post a video, I'll watch the video. If they post an image, sometimes I'll click the image to make it go full screen. Anything like that is an engagement. So engagement, you may have heard this term in social media, and engagement is basically any time you're looking on your phone or whatever, and you don't just scroll past. If you interact with it in any way, even if you click on the logo to go through to their profile page, that is an engagement on your post. So I engage with these a lot. So my algorithm is starting to say, yeah, Andrew likes Cardiff Blues, he likes Paul Williams. There's one other reason why these posts in particular came up. You may be able to see from those arrows, and just above the posts, it says at the top one, CF10 Rugby Trust and 2 others liked. And on the second one, Ashley and Steve Spears liked. Now, basically what that's saying is I follow other accounts such as CF10 Rugby Trust, and I interact with CF10 a lot, and they like this post. So it's kind of going, well, hey, you like CF10, CF10 like this. I'm going to say that, yeah, you're probably going to like this. And it does all these kind of little mathematical equations to kind of work out what's good content, what isn't relevant content. And if someone I know and interact with likes it, I'm more likely to like the post. If we have a look at these two examples, now this is slightly different. In these examples, I don't follow either Lewis Capaldi on Twitter or Amnesty International on Facebook. But these still appeared on my feed, my wall, if you like, when I'm scrolling through. So why? Well, again, you can see that on the left-hand side, Owen Lane, who is a Cardiff Blues player, and 3 other people that I am friends with, they follow Lewis Capaldi. So again, it's trying to say, well, hey, here's some content that maybe you didn't even know you liked. You don't follow him. But look, your friends like it. Maybe you're interested. Same with Emma Borland. She's a sort of friend through university, through my wife, and she likes it. And she, you know, we have the same friends, we have the same demographics, we're about the same age, we live in the same area. She likes it. I'm going to use all this data I have about both of you, particularly that overlapping stuff, to say that chances are you might be interested in this. And of course, there's one other big tell here of why this got shown to me. Look at those engagement figures. that Lewis Capaldi tweet got like 70,000 likes, and this one 800, nearly 850 plus comments, shares, etc. So it's kind of doing all this little bit of maths in the background to say, would you like it? Would you not? Constantly trying to work out how can I get you the best, most relevant content to you as quickly as possible, and not show you the rubbish stuff that's going to make you close the app and not see our adverts. Hopefully, so far so good. And I realise that's the first part of algorithms done, and that's looking at your data, what it knows about you. The next bit is actually unique. Oh, sorry, there's one other page about this. So if you were on Twitter many years ago, you may be aware that trending and the hashtags was like Twitter's big feature. So it would tell you what was trending globally. And Twitter really took off because it was almost announced in the news before the news did. So trending was this big thing. But the trending wasn't personal to you. It was things like global trends, maybe like United Kingdom trends. We now get this whole extra tab, even under trending, which is trending for you. So this is content that thinks, okay, it's doing well. It's not one of the accounts you follow, but lots of people are interested in it, and it's got the same kind of ideas. So again, like as a group, you all preferred entertainment over sport. It's going to go, okay, you generally like entertainment. Here's the biggest entertainment news stories. So for me, this example is Greg James' no-show to Radio 1 breakfast. Now, I interact a little bit with Radio 1. My sister reads the news on Radio 1. So I tend to kind of follow them and like quite a few of their posts. So again, it's kind of using this information to go, Radio 1 is trending. You've interacted with them before. This is definitely going to be of interest for you. Similarly, on the right-hand side, we even get who to follow. So, you know, and I'm sure it's the same on Facebook, where you get people you may know or you may be interested in becoming friends with. You get a list of things. Now, Paul Williams is up there. Confusingly, I have a second account that I was taking the photos on, but it's interesting because I have two accounts. My second account doesn't follow Paul Williams, but it does follow my first account. So it's going, hey, so Andrew's second account, you like Andrew, and Andrew follows Paul. So it's recommending them even to my second account, which is quite interesting. Okay, on to the sort of second part of how algorithms work. Again, if I'm going too quickly, if this doesn't make sense, please drop something in the chat, and I'm sure Ariel can interrupt and clear something up for you. Okay, now this is more to do with the actual posts that you put out. Every single post has a score. Now this score is hidden. Nobody knows it. There's no way to find out your score. It's just buried deep in the maths behind this algorithm. But every time you post, your post gets a secret score. Posts with lots of engagements, that's those clicks, retweets, likes, comments, shares, etc. They get a high score. The higher the score, the more people see the post. It's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you like. If you put out a post, it gets 10 likes in 10 minutes, that post hangs around for days. It will be showing up. So a bit like you saw on those examples of 20 hours ago, that post will just be popping up on people's feeds for days because it doesn't matter, it's old. People liked it. It was a good post. So having engagement really helps. Oh, is that a comment? Have we got a question? No, just a little cough perhaps. In addition to your post, every account also has this secret hidden score. Accounts that regularly get high scores for their posts will have a higher account score. So the algorithm, in a really crude, simple way of looking at it, is your data, what it knows about you, plus the account score, plus the post score, plus this other stuff, equals the algorithm. That is the likelihood of your post being successful or someone seeing a post. So I'll try to kind of visualize that for you if I can. Oh, sorry, scores can be bad. Sorry, first. Of course, the bad side is if you are regularly posting bad content, that will bring your account score down as well. And the problem is when you have a bad account score, it's really, really hard to bring that score up, because essentially a bad account score means your posts aren't doing well and they're not going to bother showing them to people. So even if then your posts are good, but your score is bad, they're not even going to really show it to as many people as you thought. So it's a real slog to bring that score back up step by step by step. It's a lot of work. So as I've kind of put down the bottom there, the quality of your posts has never been more important. Everything you post affects your score. So we really need to be putting time, effort, and thought into what we're posting. Okay, so here's a very, very hopefully simple example of how it would work. So let's say that I am going to post on Promo-Cymru's Twitter account. Now, as things stand, before this post, Promo-Cymru had a score of 3.9 out of 5. I mean, I'm making up these values. Obviously, there's no way of knowing. But let's say we have a score of 3.9 out of 5. It's pretty high. Now, I put a post out. It gets loads of likes, loads of retweets, clicks, comments, engagement. The score then the post then gets a score of 4.5. Now, it works that out because basically it's higher than my normal posts. So that score is now higher than my account score. So the overall score for that post, when you combine the account and the post itself, will be like in the middle, 4.2. So it's a really good post and it's going to do well for us. It's going to get seen by more people. It's going to hang around for days. And then finally, our actual account score goes up too. Let me 2 seconds. I can see that I think Ariel has a question. Let me see if I can just unmute you, Ariel. Has that worked? Are you there?
Yeah, I didn't have a question actually. I just wanted you to unmute me.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I can interject if anyone else has a question.
Well, I mean, now's a good time. If anyone has got a question at this stage, please do drop them in the comments. I can give it a couple of seconds if people want to write something. Otherwise, if not, I will carry on. So look, this is a great example. Promo does this great post, gets loads of engagements, the post does well, and it drives our account score up. Good news. What if it's not a good post? So again, our account starts off at 3.9 out of 5. Our post doesn't do very well, maybe 1 like. That's a really bad score. So it's not a good score at all. The overall score for that post, when you combine the account score and the score of that individual post, is 3.2. Not very good, lower than average. That has a negative impact on our account score. And this is where we're in danger of posting too much. So going back a few years, particularly in the third sector, because we just haven't really got the resources, we would quite often do things like just post all the time, as often as we can. Quick, someone post something, quick. We need to be putting something out to make sure that our wall looks live and up to date. But actually, that's not true anymore, particularly anymore. The emphasis is quality over quantity.
There has a question's just come in actually, Andrew, if you want to type in the chat. Sure.
Oh, can you let me have a look, see if I can read it.
Is it worth paying to promote a message? Come from Diana.
That is an excellent question, and actually something I considered adding to the end of my slides. Do you mind if I answer that at the end? But I will definitely come back to it, because actually I think I'll finish just explaining this. But essentially, short answer, yes. But we'll talk about it in the Q&A if that's okay. But yeah, that's an excellent question, something definitely worth having a conversation about.
And there is another question. Sorry to interrupt you again.
No,
but
of course.
Do you think frequency of posting affects your score? And that's from Kerry.
Yeah, so Kerry, that's also another very good question. I would actually argue not. Again, I think if you're posting little but quality, and then your account score goes up anyway. Your account score shouldn't dwindle just because you're not posting. But obviously, if you're spamming people a lot with content, it's unlikely that every one of those posts is going to be a gold star slam dunk with, great engagement and every post was better than the last. So although not directly, I don't think the frequency of posting affects it. It's more about the quality of those posts. And I just think it's worth putting more time and effort into each individual post and making it good than worrying too much about the regularity of it. If I haven't quite answered that, if I've kind of missed the question a bit, please do come back in and say, because I'm not 100% sure I've explained that adequately. Okay, we'll keep going. We're actually very nearly at the end because I said it's going to be quite a short presentation today anyway. But finally, just putting all of that together, The algorithm uses the data it has about you, the score of the post and the score of the account, plus this other stuff that it's impossible to really work out, to basically work out what you see and what you don't, but also to work out who sees your post and who doesn't. So what can you do to control your score, to improve your account score, and to make sure that you're doing everything you can to get your message heard? As I've kind of been saying throughout, it is a case of quality over quantity. Make those posts really interesting. Now that does mean putting more work into what we do. Now, a simple win on a lot of these things is just making sure that you use at least one form of media in pretty much every post you do. Unless it's a reply to a comment, obviously it's less important. But if you're posting directly, not like starting a thread of messages, you nearly always want to put some form of media. So just to be clear, media can be video, image, GIF, and GIF is a massive win. It's like cheating on social media. GIFs are great. It can also be a retweet, but with a comment. So you can obviously, if you're familiar with Twitter, you'll be familiar with the retweet button. But about 3 years ago, they added retweet with comment. You can do that, and that then counts as your score and a brand new post. So you can almost, if a post is doing well and you retweet that with your own comment, that's quite a good way of making a good post that people are likely to interact with, because you're kind of almost stealing good content and putting it on your feed, which is great. Produce interesting content. Yeah. So like I say, with the, try and make it interesting as well. So, it's quite easy just to come up with a nice visual graphic that's like Motivation Monday. And again, I think that's a trap that we've all fallen into in the last few years, just trying to put something out and something visual. But actually, it can be bland. And sometimes bland works, but also sometimes bland is bland and it doesn't work. So, just by putting any form of media, it doesn't necessarily guarantee engagement. However, it is still better than no media whatsoever. This third one is really important and something that charities and third sectors have always struggled with purely because of resources. Create platform-specific content. So if I try to explain what I mean by that, again, a few years ago, I would have almost advised you to use a tool like Hootsuite because it saves time. So what you do on Hootsuite is you write your social media post once, and it allows you to share it across Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever. And it saves you time and it gets your post out there all the time without you needing to go to each individual website, spending potentially hours trying to get all that stuff done and copying and pasting all the time. So I would always used to recommend something like Hootsuite. Now, I would absolutely not recommend doing that. While there are some similarities, I'd say, between Facebook and Twitter, and actually you can probably get away with similar content on both. If you're going to be posting content on things like Instagram, it has to be different. It has to be tailored not only for that platform, which is very media-based, very visual, but think about the audience. Your audience on Twitter is not the same audience that it is on Instagram. So why would you post the same message? It sounds obvious, but it's something we all need to really think about and consider. So making content-specific, making platform-specific content is really going to help you improve your score and get more engagement on the stuff you're putting out there. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to see. There we go. And so the final clue or tip, this can kind of be cheating, but I mentioned earlier, posts that get engagement hang around longer. There is nothing wrong with getting staff, friends, colleagues, whatever, to like the work post. In fact, you should be doing it. So if Promo puts a post out, I will always try and like that as my account, just because the more likes it gets, the better the algorithm thinks this post is doing. And again, the more posts it gets, the longer it stays around. And the longer it stays around, the more actual likes it will get from real people that don't work for Promo or whoever. So if you are an organization, you're posting, get as many of your staff as possible. Remind them to be checking your feed as often as they can. Just hitting like, hitting comment, retweet, engage with it in some way. Because if they're not doing that, your post will never really take off. And there is some there's some evidence to suggest that if your post hasn't had good enough engagement within like an hour, it won't be seen again. And on the flip side of that, if it does well in that first hour, it'll hang around for days. So almost like a cheat, is just make sure you are engaging with it off any other accounts you own or from anybody you can share it with. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because I realize that's quite a lot of technical information, and it's also a lot of me talking at you. So I kind of want to bring it to an end before I lose too many people. But again, what I'm going to ask is, are there any questions or thoughts? Was it helpful? Actually, we've kind of got an idea of what we're going to cover next time. But I'm going to stop sharing for now, just to kind of go through some of those questions and see if there's anything that maybe we haven't covered or any questions you might have. So let me just open up the chat. Okay.
There is a question at the bottom from Mark.
Oh, brilliant. Hi, Mark. If you feel your account has a low score due to lack of likes, comments, do you think it's easier to start a new account? It's a really good question, and something that I've had to kind of grapple with myself from a professional point of view, because we have one of the accounts I'm not happy with. It has a lot of followers, but maybe our score hasn't been as good as it could be. I think if we're being honest, the quick and easier thing to do is start a new account, but it's a real wrench to do it. It's really difficult, because if you do that, you will lose, or you're arguably going to lose, all those followers you've had and built up maybe for years. I mean, there are ways around it by maybe keeping one account running, open the other one, and maybe keep overseeing it for a few months and directing people as much as possible over across to following the new one, engaging with the new one, and trying to let people know that it's there. But it's difficult, and it's quite a difficult one to explain. Like, how do you say, oh, we've got this new account? It's exactly the same. It's just newer. So it's strategically quite a difficult one to pull off. But yeah, I mean, if it was simple, I would say, yeah, start afresh and make that stuff good from the start. And if you have any aspirations of becoming an influencer, then start on a new platform, get that platform nailed, and like do that well from the start. But in terms of starting a new account, I would say realistically, probably not. So again, probably not the best answer, because I've sort of said yes and no, which probably doesn't help you at all. But hopefully you understand what I mean. Like, it's a challenge. In an ideal world, yes, start again, but realistically, it's probably going to be not possible.
There was also a sort of secondary part of that question from Mark about when's the best time to put up a post?
Oh, that's a good question. So again, that totally depends on a number of things, and will be personal for your account. So the first thing to bear in mind is, who are you targeting? So if your account is targeting young people, well, then there are like peaks throughout the day of when we know young people use it. For example, first thing in the morning, because actually that's the first thing they do, like all of us, turn your phone on as soon as you even get out of bed and check what's going on. Obviously 3 till 4, when they're finishing school, there's another big peak there of usage, and then last thing at night. I mean, we could try and go through all the different age ranges, but essentially it's like, those are the things you need to consider when are my audiences online. If you're trying to attract professionals, I mean, obviously 9 to 5, but there seems to be a peak around 11 to 3 if you're trying to target professionals, because when people first go in, it's like all about emails. Then maybe there's sometimes a lull where they check Facebook, where they may be having a coffee just before lunch, and same after lunch. But again, I think it's just trying to work out when you think your audience are online. If it's parents, it tends to be just after dinner time. So you're looking at like 7 to 10 o'clock. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, that's going to be personal to you and what it is you're trying to achieve. Have I missed anything? Oh, there was a message from Kerry. That's great. Part-time. Yeah, exactly. So actually, sorry, going back to Kerry's question earlier, I can see you've replied as well. So that's good news. And I think that is true. That's one thing to take away, is that we don't have to worry quite so much about posting all the time. But something that people are often worried about doing is they spend a lot of time making excellent content, whether it's like a video or a nice social media graphic. And they think, I've posted it once, I can never post it again. Well, that isn't true, because on average, at best, you're realistically only going to hit around about 10% of your followers with every post you do. So there's nothing wrong with posting it on the evening one day, and then maybe like 3 or 4 days later at a different time of day, because you're bound to see different people. And actually, it's very unlikely they will see both messages. And even if they do, what's the harm? Your message is getting through twice. No big deal. Try not to do it consecutively, because then your feed looks kind of a bit samey, and try and like mix it up. but yeah, if you put all that effort into making this great content, use it and reuse it, obviously. Question from Hallie. Would you say it's better to have lots of different socials or just focusing on increasing the score of one of them? Again, another really interesting question, Hallie. I would these days say focus on 2. That would be my personal recommendation. Obviously, again, it will be dependent on your own needs and what you're trying to achieve. But I would realistically say that for most organizations, 2 accounts will get you the vast majority of people you're trying to attract, unless you're trying to attract everyone, in which case it's tough. But, if you're trying to attract young people, Twitter probably isn't the best place for you. Neither necessarily is Facebook, so why not make all your content really good on Snapchat and Instagram, or TikTok and Instagram? Likewise, if you're trying to attract other peer-to-peer kind of companies, Instagram, it's probably not the best place for you, because that's something that people tend to use on a personal level. I'd say Facebook, maybe LinkedIn, but definitely Twitter. So I would say, yeah, spend more time making your content good on 2 networks than trying to please everybody and doing it badly. But again, that comes down to time and resources and what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, excellent question. Have we got any other questions?
We could go back to the question about the paid.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Yes, excellent question. Yeah, so short answer, absolutely 100%. Social media advertising, when you do it properly or well, gets you the best value for money of any advertising platform. Like you can't, there's no other means in which you can so directly target the people you want to hit than you can on social media. So if you've ever tried making an advert on something like Facebook, you can, because Facebook knows everything about the users, from their age, from their location, from what they're interested in, you can target you can draw a picture of who you want to target and target just those people. So let's say that you run a campaign that are for full-time parents. You can literally create a profile that is a full-time parent based on the fact that they're interested in things like childcare, or interested in, I don't know, you'd have to kind of look through some of the other options. But when you get stuck into the advertising platform, you can direct not only by age and by gender, by location. You can go by what time of day they're online, and you can go by their interest if you really get stuck into it. So for example, with Mae Creu, so Mike is the advocacy helpline for children in Wales. We always target our posts at 16 to 25-year-olds because they are our audience. And we say only in Wales, so people in Wales don't see it, it's not wasted money, and only in that age range. So we target the people we want to hit. But obviously, if we're doing a campaign that's maybe aimed around slightly older age range, so let's say, I don't know, perhaps we were doing a sexual consent campaign, we might even maybe alter that age range to be more specific, or we could target people slightly differently. I mean, until you kind of play around with it, you don't realize just the scope of how much you can target people. However, the only thing I would also say is, if you're going to get involved in it, the first thing you need to do is make sure that that post is really good. There's no point paying money into a post that no one's interested in, and it's not attractive and it's not engaging anyway. So put a lot of time and effort into making that post good and what you want to get out of it. Secondly, start with a small amount of money. Facebook kind of gives you a rough idea of what results you can get for that money just before you actually click buy this ad. But run it, analyze it. You can see all the analytics. So you can see how well did this perform. And you can sometimes even see, like, what did they click? Who liked it, who didn't. You can get a breakdown of almost why they liked those posts and not. So start with a really small amount, and you can do it from something like £1 a day, I think, on Facebook. You can get those posts seen by more people. So start small. Don't go throwing £50 at something before you know what works and what doesn't. There's also another great thing you can do on a few different platforms, but you might have to do it manually on Facebook, is a technique called A/B testing. So the idea being, you create post A and post B. In theory, they've kind of got the same message, but you present them in slightly different ways. So maybe your message is about sexual consent. Let's continue with that theme. Post A is a video and a small bit of text. Post B is maybe a GIF, and it's maybe got a slightly more humorous tone to the message. We'll put both out at the same time with the same audience, and we'll put the same amount on both. If one of them performs better than the other, we know to put more money into that one than into that one. And so we can literally test what performs better for our audience. So we put maybe £5 on both for a day or two, see which is better. Oh, this is the better one. So let's put an extra £10 on that, and it goes up, and that's money well spent. To be honest, we could do another whole 45 minutes on advertising, but it's definitely great. Have a look at things like polls as well. Doing interactive polls on social media, they're always popular if you can kind of be cleverer with it. But yeah, that's a really good way to get engagement and stuff on your post. Oh, another question. Is it good to add a donate button? Yes, and it's actually also really easy to do. So if you've got two options, when you create a Facebook advert, you get a button automatically on pretty much every post. And you can kind of decide what that button does. We kind of call it like a call to action, if you like. But that button will appear just on the advert. And you can either direct people to a website, or let's say you had an event, you can direct people to book tickets. Now, if you're doing that through Facebook, let's say you set up a Facebook event, you can get them to book their tickets without even leaving Facebook. And likewise, Facebook does have a donate button of its own. So if you have a charity account on Facebook, you can have a donate button that users don't even have to leave Facebook to donate from your advert. If you don't have that, you might want to link it to your Just Giving page or whatever, whatever platform you're using, or your website. But it's really easy to customize that. So when you go through and write your post, you get this option. And you can say, look, I think you can somewhat customize what the button says. So I think you get options. So you can either have sign up. So like, let's say you want people to sign up to your mail list, you might use that. Learn more. So that maybe if you visit to your website, book, donate. There's a few others. I can't think of them off the top of my head. Mark, was that your dog, by the way? Is that your awesome? What is it? Is it a staffy? No. Frenchie or Pug?
Pug, I think.
Pug. Sorry, I can't see it very well. Oh, he's awesome.
Wow, good dog spot.
I have got my dog, but she's in the other room. I didn't want to interrupt, but actually maybe next time I'll show her off for a bit. We can have a dog party next time. Anyone that's got pets, you can bring them along, and we'll all introduce the pets at the start. Oh, any more questions? Is that one? Oh yeah, sorry, one from Hallie. For Facebook, do you recommend to create a page on your personal account, or start again with a business account with a page from that for ease of small or personal business? It sort of almost doesn't matter. Again, it's difficult to answer without knowing the full context of what you're trying to achieve, and if it's through work or if it's something you're doing as like a personal thing. But ultimately, your page needs I'll try and start again. If you make a Facebook page that is like a charity or an organization or whatever, a page has to be linked to a profile. I think this is what Hallie's asking. Can it be a personal profile like the one you've had since you were in university, or does it need to be like a Andrew at Promo account? I suppose for best practice, may be good to link it to a business account. That may be better. However, Facebook doesn't like fake accounts. With everything that's been going on over the scandals, over fake accounts spreading misinformation and fake news and influencing voting stuff, that actually it's kind of clamping down on accounts that aren't real. So if you have a second account, it can be okay, but make sure you are using it to post as well, because if it kind of sees that you've set up this account, and it never does anything, it never posts, it has no friends, it doesn't do anything, it might just go, you're fake, closes you. If your profile is deleted and is linked to a page, there's no way to get into that page. That's where if you link it to your personal profile, like your university one, whatever you want to call it, the one you've had for years, that's where it's almost a bit safer, because it's very unlikely that you're going to lose your profile. Does that help? Are you sure? Sorry, I don't know. in an ideal world, like I say, yeah, I would set it up with business page, but even if you link it to your personal profile, it's actually like, it's very difficult for people to find out that your personal profile is linked to that page anyway. So it's not a massive risk of thinking, everyone's going to see me personally and stuff. It's not too risky, I think. Have we got any other questions?
I wanted to throw something out actually, because I think we are bringing it to an end now, but it seems like this, there's lots of questions coming through. And one of the ideas we were thinking about, and it would be really good if you could like give a thumbs up with the reactions or maybe post a comment. We were wondering if it would be useful in some of these sessions to maybe do more like a time slot where we could trial it, where you book in with Andrew or another member of the team for 10 minutes or so, where they can specifically help you with something. So a bit of a, have you got any particular queries with social media, etc., where we can actually delve into your problem a little bit deeper. And this might be something that we trial. So if that would be something people think are useful, there is a reactions button. So if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you should see reactions, and you can click there, thumbs ups, or you can write down in the comments. It looks like we've got quite a few thumbs up. So maybe in a future session, we'll try that where you can sort of book in.
Great, yeah, that sounds good. I'd be happy to do that. Fab. Actually, on that note, we have a little think about what to cover next week. And actually, I know I've mentioned pretty much every week that the idea of creating conversations, these events that Promo-Cymru host, the idea is that actually it's meant to be all of us sharing ideas, sharing updates. I know it's been difficult on this format, but I think next week it'd be really nice to just make it particularly a chance for everybody to share a bit about what their organization does and maybe how they're coping with things, maybe what they're doing differently, or things that they've tried that have worked really well, or even maybe things that they tried that crashed and burned terribly that are really useful to learn from. There's no shame in it, please. It's always helpful to know this stuff. So I think maybe next week what we'll do is we'll maybe do like a shorter presentation, maybe, but actually try and spend a lot more time with people giving an update. So we'll do like a slightly more chance for everybody to speak up and share that way, if that sounds good. Cool. Okay. Well, I think unless there is anything else, that's probably all for today. I will drop my email address in the chat very quickly, so that if you have any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask, or if you want to present anything in future, please do get in touch. We'd love to be able to share other people. That it really doesn't have to be me every time, honestly. So that would be great. Likewise, if you want to save the chat, just remember that you need to click the 3 dots and save. So if there's anything in there that you want to keep or remember, you want to refer back to, you need to click the 3 dots, click save chat, and you can take that with you. We'll get this video up on the Notion site by tomorrow morning, hopefully, if not before. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, thank you very much for coming, and see you again soon.